It is April 28th, 2023. I had got a letter from, so I had to apply for Ontario Works, which is basically next to nothing, but anything is better than nothing, right? My mental state has not been good. I had money from the sale of my house. I put all my money into the business. I also, though, right, I only got the place that I got that I shouldn't have got because, well, one, I believed that the money I invested, I actually thought I would be able to turn around, but I got frauded. Then, right, so there was that. I needed to get out of my circumstance and my situation living with my ex-husband. However, he was still like all of this mess, right? He was promising, like, I wasn't able to see a lawyer. He also was promising, and what we did together was build businesses. So he led me to believe he'd be helping me and making money, this, that, and the other thing. I wasn't able to see a lawyer. I should be getting alimony. I don't get any alimony. I'm living in a situation that is not ideal with my, like, I only lived with my father in my lifetime for about, like, as a kid for 3 years. Or I moved in with him when I was 15, left when I was about 18, and then came back afterwards for like month, 2 months, or month, 2 months after I had got together with Steve, or maybe it was a little bit longer. And then we both had to move back into the house because he had lost, like, his lies, his stuff, and I believe we moved back in the house. And then there was another circumstance where I briefly had to move in again after a breakup. So it's like the consistency of these breakups. Then I had to go back, but the very limited time living with my father in my life. I visited on weekends here and there, and that started, I think, after he fought. Well, it was my stepmom who actually fought for me in court, but to go there. But the living circumstances as a kid were not good. Fear. I feel so trapped. I'm really struggling because finance, I would not have the mental issues anymore if the income was working. And I didn't have a memory before 2020 that came back, and that's all trying to deal with all this trauma. Okay, fast forward. My ex-husband, who I say manages the money, but like, he's a finance guy, his clients are doctors and security. He commits fraud like it's nothing. His connections, him himself is a computer genius, but also his connections. He always had the connections of the people that were computer geniuses, and I mean, like, exceptional stuff that they commit bank fraud things. I've seen him do it. Okay, to get, funny enough though, I wouldn't have been able to get a house at all because I wrongfully got screwed with my credit, different things. There was an issue. I did nothing wrong, but these banks and these things, I'm just seeing the levels of corruption is just been disgusting. Okay, so how they're all connected together. I did not tell anybody other than my mom that I applied for Ontario Works, which is my biological mom, who's on all this stuff herself. My dad and Joelle. So nobody knows that I've applied for this. And then, so I submitted, and so the only people that knew about this fraud that my ex committed was the realtor and the person that I was renting from. So they would have no idea. So I can't imagine they would be the people to. They wouldn't know that I applied for Ontario Works, and they were the only people that knew. So I can't, like, but what happened was I got a suspension letter from Ontario Works, so I got approved, and then I got it, and then I didn't get the letter. I talked because I was like, why am I getting suspended? I sent in all the stuff. What's going on? So just today, and the lady that was my original caseworker told me, I can't help you. Don't talk to me. Don't talk, whatever. And she just dismissed me. And I'm like like, I've been a lifetime of abuse, no help and support, go to get help in a hospital, get further abused, get wrongfully have my license taken away. I've never touched an illegal substance in my life. I've never driven intoxicated. Like, all of these things. I've had no justice. And if any person with a brain would pull up my records, they would see I'm telling the truth. There's the records of that. And that's why I'm mentally ill from all of this abuse. And I made it clear to the doctors too. And they did not listen to me. They've never, once you're labeled mentally ill, you have no rights. And that's clear. Okay, so that's the truth. I'm having to navigate still for my safety around everyone else, and I am not free. And everybody else seems to not be able to figure out, as they say, why I can't, like, and what their perception of me is so inaccurate. That's an example, like my father, the like, and I just have to, like, having to continuously feed people's ego and keep myself repressed because they have power over me is why I've been ill, and that's the proof of why people have mental illness in the first place. But this letter coming up this way is very interesting. How would this letter have got to the government at all? Because nobody knew that I even applied for this. So I've lost my accounts, my Instagram, believed I was hacked. I saw all these weird accounts pop up. That's why I'm like, okay, something's not right. And then I also wrongfully lost my Facebook, this and that. I wasn't doing anything. I did speak up against the hospital, and they said that was harassment. I actually had to leave the country in 2020 because the issues that I had from the hospital, speaking out against them, and I was doing it to all my videos, all the things I ever spoke about, they're all private. I posted a couple, but because I was under such stress. I was a person in my life that didn't want people to see me cry. In 2018, when I was training for a fight, and that was like getting punched in the face was starting to trigger, my PTSD. And I wouldn't let anyone, I did want to cry when I raped, but not from even there was the physical pain, but the emotional pain. But I never let anyone see that. I would go to my car and cry. And those I kept private too. 2020, it was with all this, I started talking and my head exploded, and that's when I some posted the emotions of things. But I was triggered because, again, nobody was listening to me. I felt at a loss, and that's my brain and my body going, okay, I need desperate help. And I posted those things. Not that much though. Okay, then I go to a hospital, I'm further abused. Okay, now I'm speaking up against the hospital. I was told by the director of the hospital that my videos were harassing the community. I'm like, how about you actually do your job? Because I was abused in your hospital. And instead they chose to, again, re-victimize the victim. So I'm questioning if I've been hacked. I hope I have been, to be completely honest, because I hope somebody actually gets to the bottom of this, because the victim is constantly re-victimized. I live in Canada. I have 2 ex-husbands that are absolute criminals. Child services did not do their job, and they wrongfully took my child from me. But the reality is, after so many years of parent alienation, she turned into somebody that's, right now, I can't even be around anyway. I have to heal. None of this should have happened. How do people justify their jobs? And how do they live with themselves? It's come to my understanding they can live with themselves because they actually believe what they do is right. I'm a person who I've, in my life, call it feared God. Right? I was raised Catholic, but I don't believe in that. But I always, feared God. I no longer fear God because I know I really have done everything right. I'm the one who's listened to God, and anyone who fucking doesn't believe in, if they think that anything they're doing is right at this point, after what I've done in the last number of years to draw attention to this, I really feel nobody deserves their job. Nobody. And I mean that globally. Not one person. So I'm praying I was hacked, and actually people start to do their job. Because take my story and do something with it. And people, if they actually believe in something bigger than themselves, have to, like, that's my faith that goes, I can't be the only one that would think this way. But I just haven't met those people. And right now, it's hard to believe those people even exist. Like, real, I'm living with my ex-husband now, and it's like, what do I struggle with to get to my next level of stuff? Like, I've realized, I was a model when we started dating, then that went down, like, because when you become a wife, that changes. And I realized, though, how did he start to change me? I've had to look at a lot of these things because he doesn't tell me directly. He rules on a different type of fear that people don't understand if you haven't lived with, because it's control. And once you're already sucked in, then it makes you question your own reality, sending you crazy. But for example, with a lot of things that I've noticed is his jealousy over me. Like, Steve's issue is he's wanted to be me. He doesn't realize that. That's where this whole thing, and he said, oh, I'll do for you, but then he resents me or different things. And that's where this has come from. When it's like, you're my wife, or it's ownership or different things. But it's like, I was never doing any of those things for anyone else's attention. Like, his attention was, this is what I wanted. Like, I joked, I was like, oh my God, like, the dog gets better attention than me. And I was actually getting jealous of a dog. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Now, I would never hurt a dog. Like, but on some level, that was a true thing. Because of the lack of appreciation and different things. So, for example, even in our, like, as time went on, and to this date, currently, when it comes to appearance, dressing things, or whatever, if I go to the mall or do something or whatever, if I were to buy something for myself or get something or look nicer, it's not like, oh, you look nice, wow, like you would want, that you think like the normal, like what would make you feel good as a woman and a man, like if he's like I want you to look good. I've always wanted him to be his best self in this relationship. Always. Like, look your best, do your best. I'll love you either way. If you're overweight or different because you're struggling with something, yeah. Do I prefer you to take care of yourself and look better? Yeah. Is that going to change how? No, right? Like, no. So that's like, that's because I'm not vain that way. Do I want it to be the best version of yourself? Yeah, because I believe if every human, if you were the best version of yourself. So that's why I said, don't look down, like, don't think you're fucking God's gift or whatever else because you have the ability to have money, nice things, eat better, whatever. There's the choice element in that, and then the availability element in that. So, and don't get the two things mixed. For myself, in that, even in availability, do I have money to go out and get nicer clothes and do the thing? Yep, I do. As of right now, I could go shopping, get nice things, have whatever. Where the jealousy? Like, I can even, like, I get some new, it's, what did you get? And then what did you get me if I didn't, like, in the balance? So I always make sure I get him something. Then he doesn't even wear it or want it, or the same, and doesn't make that effort. And then because he's resentful of himself. But the issue of, like, trying to show off or do something, like, and then he thinks it's about something else. And it's like, that's not what it is. So it takes away. So if I do things and make myself, even like go get something for myself or do something, it's his jealousy toward, like, it's not fun. Like, as a person, like, you're supposed, like, especially in a partnership, like, you come back as a wife, you'd want to be like, oh, I'm dressing nice, I'm wearing something nice, like, and you'd want to be appreciated for it. That's not how he made me feel. No, absolutely not. And that's actually, that's what wore me down. There was time when it was married and different things, like, but if, let's say we went to an event and I'm dressed up or something else, like, even then would be like, you look nice or whatever, but it would be like a competition thing with him, and then a jealousy, and then I'm not allowed to even leave or talk to anybody else, like, go around. Like, I'm fine. Like, I can go to a party, I can go something if we were, and I'm always respectful, and I can be social enough, like, I can fucking handle myself in any situation. Like, I'm a social person, like, I can fucking deal with that. Like, I'm shy, yes, but I know how to maneuver my way around that. That's what, like, in any situation, realistically, it's exhausting. Like, I'm tired from it, and that's why I'm, like, resting, but I can do that. I've always been able to do that. I'm a chameleon. Of course I can. So, but when you're dating somebody has such an insecurity and an issue, right? Like, I can fucking handle it. Didn't matter where we went. Like, if it was, as I said, like, we've been in situations where I'm, like, talking to billionaires, or I'm fucking talking to actors, or I'm talking to people that are, like, I don't care. Like, it didn't faze me. Never did in my life. And that was before him, after him. Like, that said, like, never fazed me. That shit, that I said, I've talked to The conversation I had with the homeless guy was better than the fucking conversations I've had with some people who have had all this money and all these things. I'm like, your energy sucks. So for me, that doesn't matter. But you go somewhere, and then what was the issue? You're not by my side right now the 100% of the time, so that's probably, and that, how shitty that makes somebody feel. That's such a, like, so right now, there's that element of it. There's also the element of I'm so exhausted that I can't put the effort into thinking of, like, do I want to look nice? Do I want to wear nicer things? Do I want to feel pretty? Yes. Absolutely, I'm craving that. Am I jealous when I see people who are, having the nicer clothes, nicer thing? Yeah, on a level, for sure I am. Because I want, like, my time, I don't want to be spending my time behind a computer, building the business, doing these things. I don't want to be doing this. I haven't wanted to be doing this for 4 years. But it's, for me, I have to look at my circumstance, my situation, my battles, and this is what I have to do to get to the next step, to be free so that I have that. One of them is freedom from somebody making me feel like shit about it, so that I can actually, get things on my own and find my own style. And then the other side is, like, I don't want to be, like, the time right now too, the psychological time that it takes to wash my hair, fucking blow dry my hair, do the stuff. Like, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be doing that. Like, I'm like, how can I look decent with minimal effort? that's like, because it's exhausting to me, because it's that there was actually a quote on Mark Zuckerberg's thing. I don't know if he said it or somebody else, but it's like, I don't want to be like, it's like the brain processing for what I'm supposed to wear and what I'm supposed to do is too much of an effort, because I have other shit that is more pressing than that. So right now, that's when I shit on the fashion industry and stuff. I'm like, if you're in a position in your life where you get to focus on that, and that's your life, understand you're fucking really blessed and entitled. Just understand that. Because, like, dealing with all this other shit, I don't have fucking time to even do that. And nobody that is working on my level does either. Because that's not a priority. It can come back around as a blessing, and that's something I want, and understand that. Same thing, and this is the message to the artists, like the same thing. But if you're, and it goes the same thing that people that, I want to create the Zen world around me. If you haven't lived in the shit, you are entitled. I've lived in the shit. I've been in the shit. So I can say that. And it doesn't mean that the people that have been more blessed to be brought up in the, like, because there's a lot of people helping that I've seen in this that I know have been brought up in great environments, great things, whatever, and that's where they're empathetic, going, fuck, we need to help. I've seen that. So it's not like I'm shitting on it, because why? Like, you're more evolved because you can recognize it, and you're empathetic, and you're that's your gift, right? It's like God gave you all of these blessings, you're paying it forward, because we need, God forbid it, otherwise the people that lived in the shit will never get out of the shit. That's where the balance is coming from. And recognizing, holy fuck, I couldn't imagine. But that's where it's like, because I want to come to life, but how am I coming to life? I need more help. Not more jealousy projected at me and shit like that. That's the fucking, like, this one girl, Krista, grows up, they said, like, the sisters, the Italian environment, the whole whatever, they're not a happy family, they're not, but they live in delusion world, but they have it, she's an entitled brat. Right? There's not a lot, but she didn't go through a life like mine. And what does she do? Spends her time fucking gossiping about people. Doesn't step out, like, fucking spends her time. And then jealous of me. I'm like, bitch, you wouldn't want to switch with me. You wouldn't be able to handle the shit I've been through. And then you make me feel bad. The Sarahs, the Isabels, the whatever. Like, you entitled fucking cunts. You look down on me because of my mental illness? Fuck, I'm a fucking rock star. I'm a warrior. You're a fucking moron. And they look down on me. They're afraid of that. But they're afraid of me because I have a side to me that's right, and then they can't handle it. But because they weren't abused. So bitches like that don't get an opinion. Why? Because they're not empathetic. If they had gone through life and did different, but they're fake. They're fake, and they're just competing again. And those type of women, too, make the world really shitty. Those type of girls. Mean girls. Why? Because they're pretty? Say this a message to like people that we were letting, like, because a person's good looking or their status or the things that they get away with a lot of shit. They absolutely do. That's not okay. I have never once in my life positioned myself that way to ever do that to another human being. No, I actually haven't. I've not thought of myself that way. Yes, I've been in like I got into when I was younger, said like with relationships with guys, not relationships, but like you see somebody and then it would make that, but that was out of, like, it really was out of fear of being hurt. So I'd hurt them first, not realizing that I've done. But that would have been what would be my targets. Douchebags. Guys with money. Guys who are good looking. Those are the ones I was like, fuck you. I'm not getting close to you. That's what I would do. That's where I was, but never to the people that had a good heart or whatever. No, I wouldn't do that. No. So I would hurt the people that I thought would hurt me first. That's not a good way to live either. That's not fair. So I recognize that. And I do recognize that. But that's exactly why I ended up where I ended up, right? Because when it comes to the whole appearance and different things, right? Like you want to, I liked being, truthfully, like you're married and then your husband's proud to have you there or whatever. It could be partner. I said husband, wife, it doesn't matter, or vice versa. It doesn't matter to me. But in my situation, I liked that. But then at some point that's not, and I still like that. Like the idea I want to make, like I want to be my best self, and I like my partner to be their best self. But I want my partner to be able to control, like, they're not going to be doing fucked up shit. I'm not doing fucked up shit. It's like a thing. And if we're at a part, go talk this out. Like, I can't police that. I'd expect you to be respectful to me. If you're so insecure, you need the wrong type of attention. I don't want to be in a marriage with you. And vice versa. I don't want somebody to fucking be controlling me and not let me be, or have to have other conversations, other stuff. But it's occurred to me, I'm not allowed. I went polar opposite. Brian didn't do what Steve did to me. Like, they were polar opposite too. So I went from one who was just like not interested, like do whatever you want, whatever, as long as you're getting money, like bringing that back, to the other one who's like, no, I'm not allowed to do anything. So I'm like, holy fuck. So that's where I'm at. Like but okay, the next layer, right? I have to get through to the next layer, get some money, get stuff coming up. Then I can again be more free. But that's where with this, dressing and appearance, there's one on the exhausted side, and two, the guilt that comes from that by what the attacks aren't worth it. And it comes in this, it's a sneaky, subtle, it's just not fun. And it's been like this now. This is not a new thing. Like, wasn't aware of it. Like I said, women, this is how a wife dresses, this is how a wife is, versus, okay, well, we were girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever. But if we were ever out and I'm allowed to be dressed up and nice, but then I'm not allowed to I wouldn't even be allowed to go for a fucking walk by myself. No, if we were on vacation doing anything, like, I wasn't even allowed to go to the bathroom by myself. Like, I've really looked back at this going, holy shit. Like, I was not. What do you think? I was not allowed to get a job that didn't, like, that's why I have a job in my house. I didn't know. That's all true.